This is Starry Eyed Fighters Part 1, Episode 1, read by Jairi Crowell and Diley Hernandez. Today we'll be reading through the prologue, chapters 1 through 3. A large screen at the entrance of Silver Lining University lights up with a pop, displaying the image of a captivating young elf woman speaking into a small microphone.
Alright, year lot, gather around. I'm Professor Belle. Welcome to the Silver Lining University, the finest university in the universe.
She begins her Irish accent, adding a warm lilt to her voice.
Today, I'm giving y'all a quick rundown of how our world works, especially for those year not native to Earth or coming from beyond.
She pauses for a moment, chuckling softly.
Here's hoping this one's recording. It's me 10th going at it. Let's start with a bit of history. Back in 2013, a group of magical beings saved from Earth from a meteor shower that nearly wiped us out. They revealed themselves to mortals, getting involved in the world more directly. That revelation changed everything, uniting people in ways you couldn't imagine. Fast forward to the year 4112, and year and Earth, along with many other species, has reached levels of advancement that boggled the mind. Our world now plays host to a grand mix of old beings, giants, elf, vampires, and a whole host of others. Each one brings their own magic, aliens, abilities, and technology to the table. Thanks to them, our progress has skyrocketed. We can live on distant planets, travel across the universe, and communicate with worlds we never thought possible. Earth's connections with other planets have never been stronger.
Belle's tone shifts, becoming more serious.
But none of this came without a bit of old chaos. We have our fair shares of galactic wars and tournaments along the way. Thankfully, the Cosmo Council stepped in, and those dark days are long behind us. The Cosmo Council, a coalition of governments from nearly every planet in the universe. They're mostly a bunch of old-timers, but don't be fooled. There's plenty of old wisdom behind those gray heads. Their one mission is to keep law and order across the cosmos, no matter the cost.
Her eyes spark with excitement as she wraps up.
And that's it. Y'all are officially students here now. The universe is vast, full of wonders waiting to be explored.
With a warm smile, she adds,
I hope each in you find your true purpose in this wide, wild world.
She ends the recording with a satisfying click. Chapter 1, got to start somewhere. Oh, wait. Deep in her dreams, a woman's ethereal voice murmured to the dreamer,
Your wings are faith and are tied to
before abruptly cutting off like a phone call dropped without warning.
What is she trying to tell me?
The dreamer wondered, lucidly aware. On a cold, pitch-black Thursday night, a white school bus screeched to a halt in a decaying, empty village in Transylvania, Romania. The bus bearing the emblem of Silver Lining University carried only two passengers, the wary driver and a slumbering teenage girl. SOU, also known as Silver Lining University, is renowned as a prestigious institution, famous for its advanced research in magic and the highest caliber of education in the universe. The journey from Seattle, Washington had taken a whole day worth of travel, and the long trek had worn down both the driver and passenger. The driver took a sip of his energy drink, rubbed his bald head, and cracked his knuckles like popcorn. With a heavy yawn, the driver spoke into the bus's speaker. Final stop, Professor Virgo. The young professor stirred from her muddled sleep. She lifted her head from the duffel bag beside her that pillowed a good part of her trip.
Ugh, buttocks. That intrusive dream again.
She muttered, holding her jet-lagged head with one hand. She wiped the drool from her pale face and fumbled her prescription crystal-colored glasses, encased in a small box near her bag. In a daze, she sat up straight and rummaged through her bag, eventually pulling out a purple scrunchie. She gathered her disheveled, long blonde hair into a neat bun, stretching her neck, back, and legs. She stood up with a satisfying crack, then began to collect her belongings, carefully stowing them in a duffel bag before slinging it over her shoulder. Ready at last, she made her way to the front of the bus, stifling a yawn as she murmured
Excuse me.
in her soft Irish lilt.
Thanks a million, sir, for driving me all the way from the university. Really appreciate it.
She added, stretching out her hand. The bus driver shook her hand in return. No problem, Professor. But are you sure this is your destination? He asked, his brow furrowing. She gripped the strap of her bag and met his gaze.
It is. It is.
Turning fully in his seat, the driver gave her a skeptical look, scratching his gray beard. No offense, but what would a prodigy professor from Silver Lining University want in this dump? I've heard rumors. They say vampires once hid in this village. Not exactly a friendly bunch. The young elf scholar nodded.
I appreciate your concern, but my job is to learn and uncover the unknown. This stump is exactly where I need to be.
Her sky blue eyes sparkled with determination.
My goal is to find a vampire and learn more about him and their magic from my research.
The driver let out a hearty chuckle. You really live up to the crazy stories I've heard. Snooping around a vampire's business is the kind of crazy no ordinary person would go for, he said, shaking his head. He turned back to the wheel, preparing to depart. Well, I've got to head back to the university, but before I go, with one fluid motion, his index finger tracing a circle in the air, the bus driver conjured a delicate swirl of consuate air magic. The pen and paper rose smoothly off the dashboard, cradled by a shimmering spiral of mystical wind, and drifted effortlessly into his calloused hands. A soft click echoed as the pen's tip protruded out. The air around him calmed down with a gentle hum. The enchanting breeze escaped the window into the night. He scanned the list of names on his checklist, placing it on the wheel for leverage. What's your full name again, Professor? I need it for my report. Stepping off the bus, the girl replied,
My name's Belle, and don't forget it.
Chapter 2. What happened to this village? As the bus disappeared down the worn-out road, Belle turned towards the village with a determined gleam in her eye. Her nose crinkled, the bitter air chipped at her nose as she breathed it in, making her sneeze. Her pointed ears wiggled in irritation as she approached a tall, rusted fence. 10 feet high and as wide as an airplane. The fence had a gaping hole at its center, as if it had been blown off open long ago. She crossed through the jagged opening. The icy breeze brushed her face, setting a chill down her spine.
Shite, it's cold as a polar bear's lunch out here.
She thought, shivering. She rummaged through her bag for a forest green bomber jacket and gray beanie, trying to keep herself warm as her thoughts wandered. A twinge of guilt rushed through her for lying to the bus driver about her true motives for traveling here. Her real reason was far more personal. Her parents had disappeared in the village 100 years ago, and she needed answers. She couldn't afford for the Silver Lining University to catch wind of her unorthodox investigation. They'd already spent a fortune on her research. Granddad and Granny had been her first clue. They'd last heard from her parents when they'd taken on a quest from the Adventurers Guild to aid a mixed village of vampires and SCF, Starry Eyed Fighters. That was before the entire village fell silent and the starry eyed species mysteriously vanished from their native lands. Rumors had since swirled about powerful figures behind the scenes and possibly even angelic involvement. No matter the facts or the gossip, Belle needed to know if her parents were entangled in this grim mystery. She slapped her freckled cheeks, the sharp clap breaking at her out of her reverie. Focus restored, she took in the scene before her, a village shrouded in darkness, the only light provided by the full moon hanging over its heart. With no other light source, Belle whispered a spell in Nash, conjuring a small orb into existence to illuminate her way.
A weave 11 light spell should do the trick. Won't use up too much mana either. A weave elven light spell should do the trick. Won't use up too much mana either.
Belle thought. The village wasn't large, but not quite small either. The houses near the entrance, though decaying, still bore traces of Georgian architecture. Those structures, once grand, were now overgrown and crumbling. Inside, floors had collapsed and staircases had disintegrated, forcing her to use magic to safely float from one level to the next. After several thorough searches, she found no clues. The decay had devoured every hint of life.
This whole place can't be like this, or it's all a bloody waste,
she muttered in frustration. As she moved along a grassy trail lined with the derelict houses, the once vibrant village now felt more like a forest reclaiming its land. Trees and wild plants thrived where streets once bustled, while remnants of the old furniture rotted in place. Rusted shops, signs, and stale scent of long unused well water hinted at a past life here. But even the sturdy cottages, dusty and small, seemed abandoned forever. Belle paused at each structure, jotting notes about their layout and condition. The cottages reminded her of home, of Kinsale in Ireland, with a quaint charm, yet each was marred by signs of violence, crimson blood-stained walls, shattered windows, and strewn belongings. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Her heart pounded heavily as she spun around, searching for whatever presence she sensed.
Egypt.
She chided herself.
This place wouldn't be empty.
She could feel the subtle menace of mana ore, sharp and predatory. Her nerves prickled, but nothing revealed itself. Shaking off the encounter, she pressed forward, more alert than ever. The village center was a graveyard, bones lay scattered across the ground, an eerie scene lit only by her conjured light. Kneeling beside two skeletons, one with fangs, the other with a different supernatural aura, she traced the outline of their collapsed hands.
They must have died together.
She murmured, noting the gaping holes in their chests. This was proof enough. The village's inhabitants had been both vampires and SCF. Belle's anger flared as she took in the scene, a battlefield where life had been extinguished with brutal precision. Whoever attacked did so with calculated intent to annihilate. After a moment of quiet rage, she calmed herself and knelt to pray over the bodies, wishing peace upon their souls.
If I find the ones responsible, I'll make them pay tenfold,
she whispered with a fierce resolve. She continued searching, hoping to find sign of her parents among the bones, but there was nothing. At the outskirts of the village, she discovered a cluster of burned houses, overgrown with unnatural thick vines. These thick plants seemed almost to guard something. Curious, Belle reached out, and the vines parted to reveal a hidden passageway.
Ah, I knew this place was hiding something,
she said with a triumphant grin. Pulling out her phone to document the find, she accidentally activated the selfie camera and froze. Behind her, reflected in the screen, were the hungry eyes of a spider-like creature. She leaped forward in terror, dropping the phone. She whirled around to confront the beast, but only darkness greeted her. She swept the area with her light spell, but the creature had vanished.
Am I losing my mind?
She muttered, unsettled.
Those eyes are massive. How could something that big just vanish like that?
When she looked for her phone, it was gone.
No, no, no,
she cried.
I saved up for months for that. I did.
After a fruitless search, she wiped away her tears and trudged down the isolated path. Chapter 3: A Desolate Path. As Belle stepped inside, a heavy, foreboding aura settled over her, like an unspoken warning to turn back. The path stretched ahead, a barren void of darkness, broken only by a narrow road of red bricks. The air hung in an eerie balance, at once warm and cold, leaving her skin prickling with unease. Driven by curiosity about what lay beyond, Belle attempted to expand the glow of her light orb in every direction, yet each time the darkness seemed to crush her efforts, as if stomping out an ant beneath a heavy boot. Despite repeated attempts, her magic could not pierce the oppressive blackness.
Damn it, why won't it work?
She muttered to herself, frustration tightening her brow.
It's like this place is suppressing magic. I should stop,
Belle thought, her mind calculating her next move.
No point in overexerting my mana supply il- on more elven light spells. They may not cost a lot individually, but they drain quickly when overused. Even with plenty left in the tank, it would be foolish to waste it. Granny always said, "Don't be messing around with your mana supply, or you're with or wither it like a dry leaf without a drop of moisture."
Belle chuckled to herself, remembering the advice with fond amusement. Resigned to the meager light she could muster, Belle pressed forward. The path seemed endless, stretching on in a dismal silence. Yet oddly enough, the road itself was polished and clean, as if someone tended to it regularly.
Someone's been here recently.
She thought, glancing down. Please help me. A faint, tremulous voice whispered from the bricks. Belle's ears twitched and crawled a shiver crawled down her spine.
Is someone here?
She asked, bending cautiously to inspect the ground. Her fingertips grazed the surface, and a flood of desperate cries erupted in her ears. Let us out! The voice wailed, the pleas merging into a dreadful cacophony. In that instant, a powerful force began to drain her mana and vitality, as if sucking her very soul from her body. A wave of magic rippled through her fingertips to her arm, the skin losing its youthful hue and moisture, shivering it up like a raisin. She reeled in pain, gritting her teeth as the voice grew louder, a maddening chorus pounding against her sensitive elf ears.
Stop or Kuralesh. Let go of me, Han.
She cried, her voice tinged with a panic as she fought to free herself. Her struggles weren't in vain, her strength slipping away as quickly as her mana energy. With one final burst of will, she reached for a duffel bag, fumbling to unzip it with her free hand. She grasped the small vial, uncorked it, and drained the elixir in a desperate gulp. Warmth surged through her, restoring her strength just enough to wrench her hand free from the cursed ground. Staggering back, she clutched her chest, gasping gasping for breath.
Oh God, I'm so glad I spent those research funds on a few elixir vials.
She murmured, her voice barely audible between heavy breaths. Quickly securing the vial back in her bag, Belle resumed her journey, now more cautious with each step. She could feel the subtle drain of her mana as she moved, a persistent tug that grew stronger the farther she went. 6 hours, she thought, glancing at her grandfather's pocket watch. The unending red brick path seemed to mock her as the darkness pressed in on all sides. Mixed hours of this damned road, and nothing to show for it. No signs, no landmarks, nothing but endless gloom. The weight of her isolation began to sink in, deepening her frown. With her phone gone and nothing but snack bars for company, hope started to fade. She wondered if she would find anything at all, let alone the answer she sought. After trudging for several more hours, chewing on the last of her snacks, she suddenly halted. Before her, two doors loomed side by side. The left door was a rubber material, blood red and inscribed with an unfamiliar language. The right door was a wooden material, yellow colored, and bore a carved white star at its center. The two doors stood as if they were exits from the endless, soul sapping road, a choice she had not anticipated, but one she would have to make. Thank you for listening or watching. You can read Starry Eyed Fighters Part 1 on Inkitt or Wattpad. Links will be provided in the description below. Goodbye now. Oh, and I almost forgot. All the art shown today is by Shyviz on Instagram and Twitter. She's a great artist, and I would definitely support her if you get the chance.